In this video, I'm going to be sharing with you how your identity, your self image, your self concept, your self is the reason for everything you're experiencing in your life, and why self, the psychology of the self, is the most easy and underrated way of getting what you want, reaching your goal, or manifesting, as they call it in the law of assumption and law of attraction community. So Maxwell Maltz, he's the author of Psycho Cybernetics. It's an older book, but I highly recommend you read it if you haven't. He refers to this self, all your beliefs about yourself. He calls it your self image. For example, if you think you're someone who's bad at math or good at sports, or somebody who's shy around women or guys, that's an example of self concept or self image. Neville Goddard, on the other hand, you've probably heard, if you're into manifesting and the law of assumption, you probably heard followers of Neville Goddard call it self concept. It's basically the same thing. It's basically who you think you are, it's your beliefs about yourself, and it's creating everything in your life, really. So if you're someone who is the star of your life, someone with a high self concept, you're going to see that reflected back to you everywhere. And I didn't always have the highest self concept until I almost died in my 20s. That was like 20 years ago, guys. So I've come a long way, and I've been into this stuff since I was 14 years old. But I'm going to be sharing in this video examples of self concept from TV, so that you know exactly what it is in self image and how you can change it uh, into somebody who has what they want. So your results in your life are not always based on what you do, they are based on who you are being or who you think you are. So, first, I'm going to use the example from a show that I'm rewatching right now. I just got back from a trip to Kauai, and I'm pretty jet lagged, so I've been staying up really. I'm a night owl anyway, so I've been staying up really late. And instead of reading 5 memoirs back to back like I did on the airplane, I'm rewatching Inventing Anna. Okay, I don't. Here's a disclaimer: I don't recommend that you scam people in order to get what you want, because that's what she did. However, she took on the concept, the image, the perception, the belief of someone who was a trust fund kid, a Nepo baby. And she was foreign in New York. And she kept telling everybody, oh, I've got a $60 million trust fund. It's just not ready yet. But she didn't look like a scrub or act like a scrub. She wore all the right things. She went to all the right places. She knew all the right people. And dumb people around her, they they took her, they believed her based on social proof. Like basically, oh, she knows such and such architect, or she knows the best chef. She must be legit. So social proof is one of the most powerful things. It's like testimonials, praise. Like for example, if you're browsing my Etsy store, you're probably going to look at all the reviews. So what other people think can help convince you that someone is legit. But anyway, Anna on the show, Anna Delvey, she used this to her advantage. And, just because someone has a Gucci bag doesn't mean it's full of cash. They could have no money in their bank account. But people took her at face value, and she swindled investors, lawyers, banks out of hundreds of thousands of dollars just by having the identity of someone who is wealthy, and the expectation and the belief and the perception. So the key is that she had to believe it herself before other people believed it. And she was so convinced that this was real to her that other people believed it too. Now, like I said, don't go around scamming people, but she had a really good self concept. I'm showing my base here as a reminder for me to share my own self concept, self image, perception of self story, and how it shifted everything in my life. So, around the beginning of last year in 2023, I really wanted to be in a band with Chad, my husband. He's been a musician for like probably most of his life, and I'm still relatively new to it. I started playing ukulele back in like 2017 with some breaks due to injury, and I also play keyboard, very dabble in mandolin, and I just started playing bass this year. So anyway, he at the time had said, you're not ready to be in a band. Instead of hearing that, I revised it the Neville Goddard way to have him telling me so everything that he thought that I needed to improve on, I told myself the opposite. I became, in my mind, the queen of harmonies, the queen of timing, the queen of rhythm. Yeah, guys, I got delusional. And not only did it change everything, we're in a band together now. And he bought me that because apparently I'm a natural. But that's just what I was telling myself. I also put in the work. Yeah, I practice a lot. And what I did is I would listen to songs that I knew I could nail the harmonies. And I would imagine myself nailing the harmonies. And I would imagine people telling me, your harmonies are perfect. And that's exactly what happened. But guys, I had to believe it first before I saw it reflected on the outside world. So if you're looking to get proof or validation from everybody else before you believe it yourself, you're not going to get it. That's just an example from my life. Now I'm going to share some examples from my book, from TV. My book, The Manifesting Experiments, written under a pen name, Zelda Behrens. And I've got my proud certificate of copyright right here, in case anyone wants to try to sue me. That's an inside joke. So this chapter is called Testing Self-Concept. The quote that I used for this is, "Don't dream it, be it," by Dr. Frankenfurter from the Rocky Horror Picture Show. So self-concept, like I said, it's not necessarily manifesting technique. It's all of your beliefs about yourself. And I gave this its own section in the book because it's so important. So I'm going to skip to the examples from TV. If you want to be inspired and manifest like a mofo and learn about the powerful magic of self-concept, watch Dancing Queens on Netflix. It's about a dance team and their amazing coach, drag superstar Alyssa Edwards, aka Justin. I knew immediately which girls would advance their dance career just by the things they said on the show. For example, this tiny 6-year-old Ainsley would say, "I'm Justin's favorite. I'm always picked first. I know I'm amazing." And she is amazing. People could feel her confidence as she danced. It was really magnetic. As a result, Ainsley always got chosen to be the star, in the dance group for her age. What happened to the girls who lacked confidence and were afraid to mess up? They were so focused on themselves instead of on everybody else that they sabotaged themselves. So this is a key to stage presence, and I'm going to be sharing about that and magnetism in a later video. So if you're interested, hit the subscribe button. Anyway, because everyone could sense these girls' fear, they got turned off by them. So they were thinking about themselves on the stage instead of like focused on what they were doing in the audience. So there's a similar show on Netflix, and it's about mermaids. I think it's called Mer People, as in people who perform as mermaids. And I used to be a very part-time one when we moved to San Diego, but I quickly decided it wasn't for me. I'm not going to name names, but there is one performer on the show who is always down on herself. And you guessed it, she never gets picked to join the team, even though she was beautiful and talented. Why? Because she didn't recognize it in herself at all. She was looking for all this validation from the outside world, and it doesn't work like that. She thinks she sucks, basically, so that's what other people thought too. On the other hand, there was a fabulous mermaid named Blix on the show who lives in the Bronx. I don't know what his pronouns are, but he didn't have the resources that the other mermaids have, but his smile lit up a room. As soon as he walked into the room, you felt it. He had that magnetic presence that I'm going to be talking about in a future video. As a result, he gets chosen to win the grand prize and go as Mr. Congeniality on the trip and perform with all the other mermaids. Also, another great example. Have you ever seen the movie I Feel Pretty? Amy Schumer's character gets a head injury during a SoulCycle exercise class. And when she wakes up, she feels like she's the hottest girl. And the whole world responds to this in a majorly positive way. Men fall over her, all over themselves to be near her. She goes from working in a dungeon, like a literal like basement with no lights, no windows, to working at a luxury fashion company. And she gets promoted. Everyone suddenly loves her because she feels that way about herself. And how you can do that is you can use information, or not information, you can use affirmations, you can use subliminals. Um, it works by repetition over time. You're not going to have it happen in a day, but you've got to kill the voice in your head that's telling you suck, basically. So on Stranger Things, here's another example. 11 is a beautiful girl who feels like an outcast and calls herself a monster. She literally says, "I'm a monster," throughout the whole series. And remember, Neville says your I am is what's creating your world. Your I am is God. Your I am is everything. So she feels this way because she's telepathic. When 11 goes to a new school, she's pretty much looks like all the other kids. They all have tacky 80s clothes. Even her bully, Angela, has similar looks and physical features. They're both classically beautiful. But because 11 thinks she's a monster, she carries herself like she hates herself, and this feeling of "I suck, I'm a freak" is broadcast out before her as she walks around the school. And the other kids, they pick up on this vibe. So it's not about what you look like or how you dress, it's how you carry yourself and what you think about yourself. And people don't have to be psychic to know this. It's your vibe. They know it, they feel it. The other students can pick up on it, and that's why she's a bully. So, yes, bullies and predators can pick up on low self esteem, low self concept, low self image, people pleasing ways, trauma, and horrible posture. So, manifesting is not just about getting stuff, it's about keeping yourself safe too. So, 11 slumps over in her chair as if she's waiting to be hit. Her bullies pick up on this low self esteem and they mirror it back to her. Why? Because the world is your mirror. More on that in the next chapter. I'm not going to read the whole book, but you guys get the point. So, what I'm trying to say is with your identity, what you believe about yourself and how you feel about yourself, it's literally broadcast in the world all around you. So, if 11 embraced her powers and had a different self concept, everything would be different for her. She wouldn't be a bully magnet, and then there'd probably be no show. Meanwhile, here's another example from Stranger Things. Let's say Dustin. So he was born without collarbones. I'm not really sure what that thing he has is called, but as a teenager, he just got his teeth, and he has a fairly high self concept. So it's not about looks. He has good self esteem. He's always smiling. He does things he enjoys, like bike riding, and he has a bunch of friends that he plays Dungeons and Dragons with. And he even has a long distance girlfriend, and his posture is great. So you can't help but smile when you look at him because you feel his innocence and his love for himself. It just really makes you want to love him too. So I'll give another example of high self concept to the extreme, and it's Regina George from Mean Girls. Now, I'm talking about the OG Mean Girls. I have not seen the new Mean Girls yet. But in the OG Mean Girls, this is what happened. So Regina's the queen bee, the most popular girl. She has great posture. She walks with her head held high. She shows her fabulous self-concept and image, even though she can be a biatch. One of the girls at school was jealous of Regina, and she cuts holes in her chest area of her tank top during gym class. So Regina just shrugs her shoulders and puts on the tank top with holes in it, and you can see her bra through it. So she walks down the hallway like she owns a place. Does she get made fun of? No, of course not, because she knows she is the shiznit. So in the next scene, we see all the girls wearing tank tops with holes cut in them because they want to be just like Regina George from Mean Girls. Who wouldn't? She's fierce and she knows it, and everyone can sense it. It's almost like she has "I'm the best" written across a tiara in 24 karat gold on her forehead. So does this mean that everyone with self-concept is a arrogant jerk? No, but or that everyone with low self-concept is the hero or victim. No, but most people who are rich have high self-concept, at least in the area of being able to make money. That's because they don't have any doubts about their worth. Now I'm going to give you an example of the last one from my book about somebody who has high self-concept and who is kind and rich. It's a rarity in movies because most people like to make the rich people in movies the villains. So in Clueless, Cher, played by Alicia Silverstone, also carries herself like she owns the school, but she does what she can to help other people. Throughout the film, Cher sets up lonely teachers on dates, which helps everyone in the school get better grades. She gives the new girl a makeover, and she's there emotionally for her father and her hot stepbrother, played by Paul Rudd. So, those are some examples from the Manifesting Experiments book. You can find that on Amazon, and I'll link it underneath the video. If you want something, if you want to be better at something, if you want a better job or more money, you have to be the person who already has it in your mind. Be the person who's worthy of it. So that's it in a nutshell. And if you like this, you know what to do. Thanks for watching.